a distant and windy coastline, there was a place where life moved slowly and quietly. It was not a place of grand palaces or busy streets. It did not appear on maps meant for conquest or power. But for a long while, it was home. This place sat beside the sea, exposed to endless wind, listening to waves that arrived and left without question. People lived here together, close enough to share warmth, close enough to share time. Tonight, let me gently take you to that place. A place called Skara Brae. Skara Brae stood on the remote coast of the Orkney Islands, far north of what we now think of as the modern world. The land here was open and wide, the sky often heavy with clouds, the wind almost never still. To live in a place like this, people had to understand their surroundings deeply. They built their homes low and strong, partly into the ground, using stone to protect themselves from the cold and the storms. The houses were not scattered. They were built close together, connected by narrow passages, as if the village itself knew that closeness mattered. This was not a place meant for isolation. It was a place built for togetherness. Beds were built directly into the walls, leaving the center of the room open and warm. A hearth sat at the heart of the house, where fire offered comfort against the long cold days. Opposite the doorway, a stone dresser stood facing inward, likely holding the family's most valued belongings, small objects that mattered in a quiet life. The walls were insulated with layers of earth and midden material, making the homes surprisingly warm and windproof. Low passages connected one house to another, allowing people to move between homes without stepping outside when storms arrived. Life followed steady rhythms. Fishing trips set out toward distant waters, using small boats made of wood and animal skins, prepared carefully for journeys where land disappeared beyond the horizon. Food was prepared. Tools were repaired. Stories were shared. There was no rush here, no urgency to be anywhere else. Only the day and the work that belonged to it. But the world does not stay still. Over time, life began to change beyond this village. Other places grew more suitable. New settlements appeared. New ways of living took shape elsewhere. Skara Brae, once a practical and desirable place to live, slowly became less central. Storms battered the coastline. The land shifted. The sea pressed closer. People aged. People died. And gradually, no one came to replace them. There was no single moment of disaster, no final day when everything ended. Life here simply became unnecessary. And so, quietly, people left. After the village emptied, sand began to drift across the land. It filled doorways, covered roofs, sealed the homes away from the wind. Time passed. Seasons came and went, without footsteps, without voices. Because of this covering, the village remained almost untouched. Stone houses stayed standing. Furniture stayed in place. Rooms waited, exactly as they had been left. The wind never stopped. The sea never stopped. Only the people were gone. Today, what surrounds Skara Brae is open and wide. A quiet landscape where nature has reclaimed the space. The village does not feel ruined. It feels paused. Skara Brae is one of the most well-preserved prehistoric villages in Western Europe. It shows us something rare. Not the lives of rulers or warriors, but the everyday lives of ordinary people. People who built warmth into stone walls. People who lived closely, shared routines, and understood their place in the world. Some places do not disappear because they fail. They disappear because the world moves on. And still, Skara Brae remains, listening to the wind, holding its silence, remembering a time when life passed gently through its door.